sun. Yeah. I got so much drink in me. Wonder if you missing me. These days I can't fucking sleep. Damn, I'm out here living dreams. If I send this text of mine, shawty, is you down to slide? Don't say not tonight, cause you be busy, tell another lie. I done seen this thousands of times. I retype like thousands of lines. We done did this thousands of times, so I ain't tryna choose another time. Shawty, tell me now if you be really tryna slide. I can't wear no heart up on my sleeve, cause it's summer, baby. Only rock basic white tees, tryna break a milli. I got women lined up on the silly to get faded with me. They get just as freaky in the sheets, tryna get naked for me, yeah.
It's been almost 3 weeks since I came back from the camp that I was demonizing in my previous videos. I said that it's gonna suck and that I'm not gonna have fun in there. But despite that, I tried to make it an opportunity for me to learn something new about myself rather than just wallow in self-pity. And so I did. So my new insights will be put in this one video, as well as the other insights will be in other videos scattered. But the other ones were after I came back, as well as before I even went there. The first thing that I noticed once I got there was that I had to embrace the suck. I knew that we're gonna be wet, dirty, and just not happy in there. So because of it, I didn't pack like my best shoes, my best t-shirts, and I didn't take anything that could be stolen. Because you know, there were like 100 something people, so someone out there could actually steal something. And it actually happened, where someone stole one of my shirts. But because I embraced the suck, I didn't actually lose anything that much of a value. I had to be prepared that it's gonna suck. And not in a way where I'm gonna be unhappy and like scream at everyone and everything to just go home. There were times where it was raining. It was 8 AM and you had to go into cold water. And you know, it sounds scary and it sounds like torture. And I at some point said to the teachers that it is a way of torture. To which, you know, they just laughed, because what else can you do in this situation? But to my surprise, it actually makes you better. And not only in a way where it makes you feel better that you did it, but just mentally as well as physically. Because after doing such thing, you feel like nothing worse can happen to you. And then when actually something worse happens to you, you're not that fazed by it. And it makes you feel better that you can do it, rather than being this guy that just refuses to do so. And honestly, there was one guy that refused, because for some reason he packed fucking new Jordans. And there was one activity where you had to cross some like muddy water. And you know, it was like a race, so you couldn't just take all of your clothes off and you pretty much had to go with your clothes on. So he just refused, and literally he just came back to the cabin. So that's also why you should embrace the suck, because you don't want to be this guy. Especially in this scenario where everyone is just hyped, everyone is just waiting to actually get into this water, to get not only get this over with, but to just, you know, gather some new experiences. And you're this guy that just complains about everything and refuses to do something that everyone else has to do. Like, it teaches you something about team play and just being around other people. And honestly, this one instance made me complain less about the cold water, because I hate it. I hate cold water, I hate rain. But after that, I literally just sucked everything up. And when there was time that I had to go into cold water, I was just like, fuck it. And just went in, like head first. So things like that actually make you stronger. Honestly, in my opinion, 12 days are just not enough. I think that your entire life is supposed to be like this. Where I don't mean that you have to lose control over it and just be a hobo or something. What I mean is that you should have challenges in life that make you stronger, rather than just you scraping by. What I mean by that is that life should be challenging. Not in a way where, it's challenging because you can barely afford food or don't have any money and don't have place to stay. But challenging in a controlled way, where you're trying to shape yourself into something because you can, rather than just scraping by and surviving. And that's also what embracing the suck means. Because once you do it, you thrive in this environment. And how you thrive? By embracing it. We had showers that didn't have any covers. So when you wanted to shower, well, you either had to go at certain hours where there was no one, or shower with your friends. And it was funny because, haha, prison, haha, don't drop your soap. And listen, I'm not gay. That's also the reason that I was going to shower in these hours where there was no one. But that worked only for majority of times. Sometimes I actually had to go with other people. And it wasn't bad, because everyone just takes care of themselves. It's not that everyone will try to look at you dick, but they're gonna try to fuck you. I mean, in prison it's probably much worse than this, so beware of it. But other than that, it's weird for me, because you probably saw so much porn, you saw so much dicks, but you're still scared of naked people. So I just embraced it, and I just said fuck it. And I didn't really bother about being around other people. And trust me, it is better to shower only by yourself. So if you're ever in this scenario that I was in, just try to look for hours where there's no one. As I said, if you're around normal people, no one is gonna try to fuck you. But that's enough about showers. The other thing that sucked was the food. And on the first day that we went there, it was oh my god, they gave us sausages from the grill. And we were that's good. We're gonna eat as much of them as possible because these are good. So each one of us ate 5 sausages. And on the next day, everyone, entire fucking camp, found out why they were just giving away sausages. And that's where it began. For 12 entire fucking days, everyone had fucking diarrhea. So imagine this scenario: for 12 fucking days you have to pray that you don't shit yourself during the water exercises, or literally go to the shitter before every exercise, because you just couldn't afford to be the guy that shit himself. And honestly, at some point I think my body got used to it, because I'm not gonna keep it private here, it was fucking liquid going out of my ass for the first 3 days. But after these 3 or 4 days, it actually got solid, but I still had to go to take a shit 3 or 4 times a day. Trust me, the food wasn't a blob or something. It was actually good and sometimes even tasty. But at some point they made a casserole from the previous meals. So there were sausages, there were scrambled eggs, and some broccoli. But it was okay. But once you knew that it's from the previous meals, oh my god, I almost puked. And on the other day they gave us some piece of meat, and I just stared at it, and I wasn't I instantly lost of the hunger. I just ate some potatoes and that was it. That was my entire meal. And it's you're in position where you have to eat to have the energy. The camp was pretty intense, so if you didn't eat, you didn't have any energy. Then you're told that you have to swim for 800 meters. So you were pretty much screwed, that you had to eat this shitty food to have at least some of the energy. And by embracing the suck, you get used to it. It's still not pleasant. You wish you could just go once to the shitter and be done with it for the rest of the day. But as I said, you just get used to it and maybe even adapt. Because as I said, it was fucking lava for the first days, but then it got solid. So your body even adapts without you knowing it. So if you're ever put in the situation where you had to go somewhere that you don't want to, like, just be mindful of the fact that you're gonna adapt anyway. That probably you're making it worse in your mind than it actually is or will be. And be mindful to embrace it in a way where you don't take a lot of things that you're gonna need, like, oh, I'm gonna need like this and this and this, and just take your entire fucking house with you. Embrace it in a way where you're road dogging it. That's what I did, and that's what worked for me, because I didn't have anything at all. I had only my clothes, my phone, and a book, and that was it, like nothing else. And that leads me to the next point, where less is more. I like the themes where everyone is not having anything like useful, but there will be time where the certain things will get useful. Kind of like in prison again, where you know someone has a toothbrush, someone else has a gum, and like someone else has a tape, and boom, all of a sudden you have a knife or something. It was like that, where one piece of garment was priceless in certain scenarios. Like, I walk around the city with a woolen hat, and each one of the guys that I was in the room with was laughing at me for it. That, oh, it's too warm and you shouldn't wear a hat. But I took it to the camp anyway, and there was time where one of the guys asked me to give this hat to him. And I said to him that everyone is laughing that I wear a hat, so now who do you come to get a hat? He got mad at it, obviously, but fuck that. That's what I mean by less is more. Where you have less things, each one becomes priceless. This hat that was just a piece of garment and I was laughed at for using it, all of a sudden became something that one couldn't live without. And honestly, owning less made me happier. Like, here in the city, you pretty much have everything by the snap of your fingers. You want to cook a chicken, you just go to the store in like 5 minutes. Or you want a bag of chips, here you go. Like, everything is served to you on silver platter. And we had shop there, but there wasn't anything useful other than some candy bars. So you know, you would think that someone that has a lot of stuff, like, I don't know, a lot of water, a lot of cola and chips was the king. But honestly, no. In this scenario where everyone had pretty much nothing, everyone at this point embraced it. And no one was even craving these things. Like, all we needed was to just buy water. And that's it. And this bare minimum was enough for us to still be happy. I remember I went into one of the cabins there, and there was a guy that had like a lot of stuff around his bed. There were guys that had like PS4. Like, here in the city I have my computer and phone and everything, but in there I was like really not caring about it. I wasn't even jealous of it. At some point I even thought, like, if we had PS4 in our room, it would make the entire experience worse rather than better. And you know, having less also means less distractions. Like, if you were in there, you were really in there, rather than checking your pockets for some notifications, replying to someone. No, you were really in there. At some point I was even going out without my phone in the pocket. In this scenario, it was pretty much useless. Like, the only thing you could check is fucking time. And honestly, if you were bored, you were actually bored rather than distracted. Like, if you were bored in there, you were trying to do something actually cool, like talk to some other people or go to the forest, like hanging out with someone, or just staying in your room and gaining some energy for the next exercise. And that's where naps were priceless. And I also found out that I have really great taste in music in terms of music for sleep. Like, I don't know how it happened, but I remember I was just playing some music while some other guys were just trying to fall asleep. They just woke up and said that I just play really great music for the naps. So by then I became the DJ of chill. And pretty much every time when we were napping, I was just playing some music, and every time everyone was just happy with it. Sometimes even to sleep, because, you know, the walls were thin, so when we were trying to fall asleep, everyone out there had party on their own. So some nights we basically had like 6 or 5 hours of sleep, and getting 7 was a miracle. But because of the music, these 6 or 5 were enough, because we could actually fall asleep quickly. And that's also why less is more. Because in the city you just have ASMR, you're scrolling TikTok before going to sleep, you're trying to reply to someone. Like there's just so much distractions. But during the camp, the music was everything. And this one simple thing made every night better. And it's pretty much the same scenario as with the hat, where all of a sudden one thing just became priceless. And that leads me to another point, which is the environment. And because I changed my environment for 12 days, it worked miracles. Like one of the advices to drop down some addictions was to change the environment. And for me personally, that's the only advice that ever worked. That also ties to the distractions, where, you know, at home when you're bored, you're trying to distract yourself. Listen to me carefully right now. When I was in there and I was bored, I was looking for something that excites me. But in the city, when I'm bored, I'm looking for something to distract me. And these two things made everything change. Because when you're looking for something to distract yourself, it will only work short time. As well as once it's done, you're gonna have to repeat it like endlessly and then fall into the habit. Like every vices that you have is just a distraction. Like porn, alcohol, smoking, everything. It distracts you from what you want to excite you. Because if you're looking for something that excites you, it's gonna stay with you almost forever. Like sometimes the things that excite us stop, but that's the natural course of everything, where you have to constantly look for something that excites you. And to be honest, you always can just come back. So when, let's say, playing an instrument excites you, but you drop it because, I don't know, school or work, but when you come back and reignite that passion, that excites you again. But you can't be passionate about masturbating. It's just a distraction, and you're in a loop where you basically distract yourself from feeling bored, or maybe even challenging the certain feelings. And so the environment I was in was created for me to chase something that I can be excited about. There were many activities that I could just do on my own or with friends. And when I was bored, I could just do anything other than distract myself. And honestly, when I actually was distracting myself, because at some point I found out that there's like one specific point on my bed where the internet worked the best. So I abused it to play Clash Royale. And honestly, when I was distracting myself and playing this game, at some point I was like, why the fuck do I bother? It was such environment that playing games was just worse than existing. It was worse than being bored. And at some point I didn't even feel the urge to play again. Sometimes I was just playing a match or two and just closing it because it was just boring. And when the environment you're in consists mainly of things that can excite you rather than distract, you just find that it's a better way to live. And that's something that after going back home I felt immediately, that there's just nothing to do here. Like in the city, all you can do is just play fucking video games and go to clubs, where both things are fucking distractions. There's just nothing exciting for you to do other than go to work, play video games, sleep, and go to work. And in this scenario of living in the city, like small things start to have big impact on you. Like cooking your own meal instead of takeout is good for your mental health. But honestly, it might be controversial, but it shouldn't. It should be like your daily habit to cook for yourself, rather than this one thing that you just do because you felt the urge. And on the other days you still eat takeout from fucking McDonald's. And honestly, on paper, in camp, there's nothing to do other than just sit around and just wait for next classes. But that's still better than living in fucking city. And so that's something that I want to change in my life, where I don't want to be in the city anymore. Like seriously, there's just nothing to do. And doing something, even like remotely fun, like for me skateboarding or parkour, it makes you look weird in here. Like if you started to climb a tree during the camp, everyone would be like, it's fun. They would try to climb the same tree with you. But in here, if you even touch a tree and just like feel its texture and someone looks at you like, they look at you like if you're fucking crazy. And honestly, if you're struggling with going outside and have some phobias or have the activity and you struggle to go outside, that's because you live in a fucking city. You're not living in an environment that promotes that behavior. Like if you have friends that also do the same activity, that's great. Like hold on to them. And when you have to do something alone, but you're still surrounded by people that look down on you, something just dies inside you. And eventually just give in to distractions, because that's what normal people do. And each one of us wants to be normal. So changing the environment is one big thing that I have to do in my life. And just rearranging your room or cleaning up the space doesn't work. It's not changing your environment. What I mean by changing it, it means entire shift of your life, where you're not in the city anymore. And I can't just overstate it enough, I hate fucking cities. Like when you're in wilderness and it starts raining, just appreciate it that the plants can get their water. You just look for a place to hide and just appreciate the sounds of the rain and just wait for it to go away. But in the city, when it rains, like it's so fucking ugly. Like the streets are filled with filth. Like it's just nature doing its own thing, but cities are not the nature. It's not natural for us to be in such tight spaces with people we don't know. And people are fucking weird, especially in the cities. And when you're packed with weird people around you telling you what to do, you just start to lose yourself. And cities are just this synthetic thing. And as I said, when it rains, like the nature just does its thing. But because you're living in synthetic environment, it starts creeping on you like, oh, it's not supposed to be that way. And it suddenly breaks your mood. As I said, like people are weird. Like cities are not safe at all. Like you can get stabbed or shot just because. And that's something I'm pretty much scared of every single day. That's also the reason why I want to change my environment to something more pleasant than being surrounded by weird fucking people. And that leads me to another point, where anticipation is very valuable. For me personally, anticipating something is better than receiving it, mainly because reality is often disappointing, and I was just making in my own brain this high expectation of this thing, where in reality it could never live up to this expectation. Only if Chris Avalon wasn't fired, if you know what I'm talking about. And it also ties to The Beast. And for me personally, waiting for Dying Light 2 was more fun than playing it for the first time. Like right now it is fun, okay, I get it. But we all know what Dying Light 2 was supposed to be, and it just isn't. And it's the same with waiting for The Beast. Like we wait for it, and once it comes out, like the entire anticipation is gone. And all there is like, oh, this game is just made. Like it's another Dying Light. The anticipation and the thoughts that we create in our brain that this thing is gonna make me happy, or this thing is gonna change everything. And when I was in the camp, I was anticipating to get back home. I was just thinking like, oh, when I get back home, I will change my life. The first thing I will do, I will order pizza, play some video games for the entire duration of the night. And then on the day after that, I'm just gonna live the happiest of my life. And trust me, even on the way back home, I I just felt that it's not gonna be like that. And honestly, when I got back, I didn't even feel the urge to order a pizza. Like, I was just craving it because, oh, the food in here is trash, so I just want to eat something like really, really, really good. And honestly, like, it wasn't that good. Like, anticipating this pizza was more fun than actually eating it. But during the camp, when I was anticipating for something bad to happen, like when I had to go into cold water, I was just struggling to do so, and I was just overthinking it, like, what if I do this, what if I do that, like, what if it's too cold? And then it turned out that actually this class was fun. Like, it wasn't even that cold. That's when I actually found out that anticipating the worst and getting the best in return is way better than the other way around. Like, me anticipating this good tasty pizza, like, oh, it's gonna be so good, and then it turns out that it's not that fucking good. Like, it just breaks the entire charm. So there is this notion that you should just expect nothing, but in my opinion, you should just anticipate that it's gonna be bad and be positively surprised. And again, as I said with Dying Light Davis, I just anticipate that it's not gonna be that great. Like, it's not gonna be that fun as the previous games. So it's actually not my fault that I think this way. Like, some people in the comments can be like, oh, it didn't even come out yet. To which I say, yeah, but I'm not happy with what I already saw. So it's actually Declan's role to surprise me. Like, it's not my job to eat it up like a good boy. It's their job to make good fucking food, especially since I'm paying full price for it. And that's also something that not everyone can just find words to describe. People ask you like, why you hate the game? It's not even out yet. Like, you're just not fond of what you saw. And that leads me to the last point, is that you should know what you want in life. Like, even if it's vague, it's still better than knowing nothing. If you say to yourself like, I want to travel, it is vague because someone might ask you like, where do you want to go? When do you want to go? For how long? And you're just like, you just don't care. It doesn't register to you that it's someone else's idea of traveling, that they have to know when, know where. For you, traveling might just be going into a car and just driving in straight line and just seeing where it takes you. And for me, that's the best definition of traveling. Like, you just know some places like, I don't know, Australia or Japan or whatever, and you want to go there, but you also want to just look for different places too. Who knows, maybe some like random village will be better for you than living in New York. And you couldn't find that village by just knowing where you're going. And this entire trip made me more in tune of what I want from my life. Which is, as I said before, I don't want to live in the city. As well as I want to travel. But I don't mean travel as in going to Bali or something. Because right now there is this like notion in self-improvement that, oh, you have to go to the hot spots where all the hot chicks are, where all the entrepreneurs are. Like, man, if you have enough money to even be in Bali or somewhere else that is a hotspot for entrepreneurs or whatever, and to live there like a king, like, you don't need them. You don't need to network with some random people to get more money, because what's the purpose of it? And I don't know, that's just my style of thinking. Like for you, maybe getting filthy rich is actually the best thing to do. So you want to go there to just like get more money, and then find out that you don't need the money because you have to contribute to society, the same society that looked weird at you for doing the things you like, the same society that is full of fucking weirdos that you don't want to be in touch anytime soon. You have to contribute to the same society that treats you like absolute trash and just makes prices go higher, makes you addicted to certain distractions, so you don't ever want to actually pursue your dream. Is it really what you want to contribute to? In my opinion, everyone should just get rich on their own and then just fuck off. Because there's just no point in doing any of this bullshit that someone told you that is the best way to live, where you just have to know it on your own. And as I said, even if it's fake, it's better to have a vague idea and pursue it rather than living off of someone else's dream and then finding out that, hey, it's not the way that I want to live. And honestly, call me lazy or crazy for having no ambition, but who's to say that someone has an ambition? Like, who's to judge you for doing things that you're doing? Like in modern life, of social media, of living in the cities, it gave some power to people that shouldn't have it to control your life. You see all the negativity, all the opinions of other people, and at some point you just don't know what you should do because you're pretty much brainwashed. So honestly, this video might actually be the sign for you to take your life over rather than living someone else's will. So that's what happened in the 12 days that I was in the camp. See you on the next video.